Episode 4 of The Last of Us Season 2 just gave us tension, trauma, and a whole lot of trust issues. We're breaking down every moment, every emotional beat, and what it all means for Ellie's journey. So smash that like button, drop your favorite moment in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for weekly breakdowns of TLOU and everything nerd culture. Now that we have paid the bills, on to the video. There is something about silence that becomes louder when the world is broken. In episode 4 of season 2, The Last of Us trades the crackle of conflict for something more intimate. It lets us sit in the quiet, and it is in that quiet that a broken music store becomes sacred ground. Ellie, in a rare moment of stillness, finds a guitar. Its strings are old but intact, waiting to carry a melody once more. She plays, not to impress, not to survive, but simply because the song wants to be heard. Aha's Take On Me fills the air, gentle and trembling. Dina watches her with eyes that understand the cost of vulnerability. In that moment, they are not fugitives. They are not survivors. They are just two girls in the ruins of the world, remembering something like joy. The camera does not cut away quickly. It lingers, allowing the weight of the moment to settle deep. Ellie's voice carries the ache of memory. The song, a tether to Joel, a thread that refuses to snap. In choosing to play it, she chooses to let herself feel. The scene does not rush, it stretches, and it should. Because when everything is fleeting, the rare glimpses of beauty deserve their full breath. Monsters without teeth. But the world outside the music store has not changed. The infected still roam. Raiders still stalk. The ground beneath their feet still creaks with betrayal. Yet in episode 4, the most frightening thing is not a monster hiding in the dark. It is what people carry in their hearts when the world teaches them that love is a liability. This is where the episode shifts gears. After the tenderness, the tension begins to thrum again. We meet a new group of survivors, not named, but certainly felt. They move through abandoned buildings with military precision, whispering orders and watching shadows. Ellie and Dina must escape notice, but it is more than stealth. It is a kind of emotional hiding, too. The fear of being seen as human, the fear of connection being noticed and punished. What makes this section compelling is how it refuses to turn into action for action's sake. There are no grand shootouts. There is only breath held too long. Feet avoiding creaky floorboards, eyes scanning corners. A bottle thrown not as a distraction, but as a prayer. The show understands the slow burn of dread. It knows that the true weight of danger lies in the pause before impact. There is one moment in particular, set in a narrow hallway, where Ellie hides in a closet while Dina holds her breath behind a crumbling shelf. The intruders pass within arm's reach. Dina's hand grips a rusted pipe, ready to defend or die. It is not a long scene, but it is one of the most nerve-wracking, because it is real, because it could happen. Beyond the external threats, the episode pulls us deeper into Ellie's internal world. She dreams of Joel again, not a memory, a dream. In it, he is tuning the guitar, his back to her. He says nothing. She says nothing. But the silence screams. When she wakes, she does not cry. She does not speak. But the weight is there. Dina tries to ask. Ellie deflects. It is the rhythm they have fallen into. One asks, one avoids. But we see the way Ellie's fingers twitch when Joel is mentioned. We see how she checks her pocket for the old watch she keeps hidden, even from Dina. The emotional layering here is delicate and deliberate. Ellie is a girl growing into a woman while dragging grief like a chain. Later, while scavenging in what used to be a bookstore, Ellie picks up an old comic, the kind she used to read with Riley. She hands it to Dina, but says nothing. Just a small smile, as if to say, "This used to matter to me." Maybe it still does. The episode is filled with these moments, ghosts of the past brushing against the living. But the show never overstates. It lets the audience lean in, listen, and fill in the pain with their own memories. Dina is no longer just a supporting character. In this episode, she becomes a full force, not through big speeches or displays of power, but in her patience, in the way she chooses to stay. She is present, fully and quietly. When Ellie snaps, Dina does not flinch. When Ellie withdraws, Dina does not push. She understands that the deepest wounds are the ones never voiced, and she offers comfort not with words, but with consistency. There is a moment where they shelter in the back room of a collapsed building. Rain taps against the roof like a metronome for grief. Ellie sits hunched, silent. Dina pulls a blanket over both of them. No conversation, no analysis, just presence. And in a world where everything is earned through blood, that kind of love is beautiful. This is what episode 4 captures so well. That survival is not just about running or fighting. It is about holding on to the people who choose to stay, even when you have nothing left to give. It is about the quiet choices, the ones that do not make headlines but save lives. A world of rot and memory. Visually, this episode is rich with decay. Not just the decay of buildings and streets, but the slow, creeping erosion of a world that once held promise. Nature has reclaimed what man abandoned, inserting itself into every crack, every broken window, every hollowed-out shell of what used to be home. Vines crawl up rusted light poles and snake through shattered bus stations, their roots settling into old vending machines and bathroom tiles. Trees push through apartment floors, their branches growing into hallways where voices were once heard. The air itself feels older. It moves differently, slower, as if even the wind is carrying memory now. The cinematography treats this ruin with a kind of reverence. There are wide, patient shots that do not rush the eye. Shots that let you sit with the overgrowth, the rot, and the reminders. There is beauty here, but it is the kind that makes your chest tighten. Because it reminds you that the world did not just end, it was slowly swallowed. There is one image that lingers long after the scene ends. An old daycare center, half collapsed, bathed in weak gray sunlight. The walls are still faintly painted with stars and cartoon animals, but the colors have peeled into curls, blistered by weather and time. Toys are scattered across the floor, untouched for years, their plastic faded and cracked. A rocking horse lies on its side near a toppled bookshelf. Crayons, bleached and broken, are frozen mid-drawing on a mural that once meant something to someone. In the middle of the room, resting neatly beside the wall, is a child's backpack. It is still zipped, still clean in places, as if the child had meant to come back for it, as if they had set it down just for a moment, and then the world changed. Ellie pauses here. Her body language slows, her shoulders lowered. She does not speak, she does not touch anything, but she stares for a beat too long, and in that beat we feel what she is feeling. The weight of stories that will never be told, the innocence that was stolen so completely that even memory struggles to keep it alive. By the time Ellie turns away and walks on, we are not just watching her, we are walking with her, carrying the same grief, the same question. What kind of world would let this happen? And more importantly, what kind of person can survive it without forgetting how to feel? If there is a thread running through this episode, it is the fragility of connection. Ellie is reaching for something steady with Dina, even the briefest encounters with strangers who choose not to pull the trigger. Every moment feels like a quiet plea to hold on to something human. The show keeps returning to that quiet truth. We need each other, even when it is painful, even when it is temporary. The Last of Us has always been about what is left after the world takes everything else. And in this episode, what remains is love. Not the easy kind, the kind that stumbles, that hides behind sarcasm and silence, that shows up in small ways. A glance, a memory, a step forward. It does not heal the wounds, but it gives them meaning. And in a world like this, that is enough to keep going. What lies ahead? Episode 4 is about what happens in the silence between moments. It is about two girls trying to survive a world that has taught them not to feel, and choosing to feel anyway. As the episode closes, Ellie and Dina walk along an overgrown highway, their backs to us, their shadows long. There is no music, only the sound of wind and footsteps. We know the peace will not last. We know danger is never far, but for now they walk together. As to what lies ahead, we know it is not answers, not comfort, but the fragile, flickering hope that love, even buried beneath ash and ruin, still matters. The ending of this episode does not promise safety. It promises persistence. It promises that even in a world that has forgotten how to be kind, two people can still choose to carry each other. And that choice, over and over again, is what makes this series unforgettable. That's it for our episode 4 breakdown. And y'all, this show keeps coming for our feelings. If you're loving this deep dive, check out our reviews for episodes 1 through 3. They hit just as hard. Like, comment with your theories, and subscribe for more nerdy pain every week. We'll catch you in the next one, if we survive it.